Hi, welcome to 1715 Walnut Street in Camp Hill, Pennsylvania. The project was to create a master bedroom suite on the second floor. Our budget was $50,000, taking 235 square feet, which is marked in yellow, and increasing it by 444 square feet, which is marked in blue. As you can see, the staircase and the small hallway that you get to when you get to the top of the staircase and some of the eaves marked are part of the expansion. Our starting point was a room on the second floor that was 235 square feet. A staircase encroached on the bedroom, zigzagging it by about 4 feet from one end of the room to the other. You can clearly see the zigzag of the staircase there, along with a little bit of the hallway that measured about 2.5 feet wide. It took several days to remove the shell of the walls and ceiling. I love visiting the job sites, always have. I go almost on a daily basis. Here I am with Brian from Heritage Builders. There was a wall running down the center of the new space that unfortunately was structural. All the collar ties rested on the center wall as part of a previous renovation. That would have to be reworked, supported in such a way that the wall would no longer be necessary. During this process, we were able to remove 2 out of 3 collar ties, which opened up the view of the ceiling substantially. Collar ties was cisterned to the ceiling joist, adding support where needed so that the wall in the center of the new space would no longer be needed. Opening up the room brought in light from north and east windows in addition to the windows facing south. The light in the room was now exceptional, more than I expected. We considered whether to stain the beams or paint them. My vote counted more than everyone else's on this one because frankly nobody really cared or thought that one brown was any different than another. If you think all browns are close to each other in color, think again. I did manage to fall in love with one particular one. It was perfect for the look we wanted. Then we had to stain the railings and woodwork around the staircase. I wanted to match the dark brown of the beams, but it was not meant to be. The stain was getting close. However, timing was getting tight, and the entire job was now on hold until we finished the stain work on the railings. The owner from the beginning only wanted 1 coat of stain. I knew that would have looked awful, so I cajoled and handheld him until we got the 3rd coat on. I settled for 3 coats. 4 or 5 would have been perfect, but the owner was getting edgy and we had more to do, and we were already 1 week behind schedule. Guess which color you think we picked? The center color, little boy blue. Painting the floors was necessary as the floors were in bad shape and the budget just wasn't there to replace it with new flooring. That would have run about another $5,000. I also happen to love painted floors. Having lived in the Hamptons for 28 years, it's considered quite kitsch, quite chic, quite cottagey, charming, to die for, up there. Look at the light coming through that dormer. Isn't that exquisite? Here you can see the difference between the stained railings and 4x4 posts and the beams above. They're not quite in sync. They're getting close, but not quite. And it's okay in the end, but it just drove me crazy. The last image is of the bedroom furnished, courtesy of Photoshop. Before we took out any walls, I'd measured the space and placed and designed the area for the king-size bed with room on either side for a bedside table, bench at the bottom of the bed with room to walk around it. It also gives views through that gorgeous dormered window and through the windows to the south. Once placement of the bed was figured out, the rest was easy. Look at all this unclaimed space on the second floor. Yummy, yummy. I see master bathroom and dressing room. This is eventually where the vanity would go. The whole space within the eaves on this side of the house measures about 25 feet across by 12 to 14 feet. The eaves show the pitch of the ceiling right up to the roof, which is pretty cool, and we're going to try and keep that. As you can see, the space does an L. It wraps around the chimney, and the dotted line shows you where we put some storage space, so you'll get it. Here's the storage space that I outlined for you in the end when we finished it. A lot of containers can go in there, everybody. This is a little video of the bathroom that we ended up with, and it turned out better than I expected. Usually doesn't, but in this case it does. It's quite lovely. It has exposed beams. The wall between the bathroom and the dressing room remained the same, and the dresser that you keep seeing in the shots was up in the attic, so we ended up by using it because we had to. Otherwise, we would have had to break it down and chuck it out the window. This vanity is actually an old sideboard that I found online locally. I think it's absolutely charming. I just love it. And I paid $490 for it. And the reason I tell you that is because a lot of you will know how much a vanity costs. So you will know what an amazing price that is. Plus you're getting something that's sort of a one of a kind. Here's the vanity with relation to the toilet, another important feature in a bathroom. Here's another perspective of the bathroom. Notice the deep water tub shower combination, and that window faces south. It's just lovely in there. This chandelier is another piece that I found online locally. It measures 46 inches across, so it's big. And when it went up, I thought I'd like it better with the globes off. And then I got to the point where I couldn't make a call on that. It was up to the owner. The owner wanted it on, and that was that. And it lights both the bathroom and the dressing area.
Okay. So you think about packing this out?
This is Tate Lalvensberger on the left, with two of the trades on the right, trying to figure out how to get a 46-inch chandelier in a 48-inch space drop perfectly from a 45-degree ceiling joist.
Why can't you take it this way?
Yeah. So add
Because
another
you're
2 by.
out this way.
Is that what you think, Dave? Just bring it over to here. Add another 2 by on here and just have them wrap the whole thing.
That way it'll give us more.
Are to get the canopy not to hit the crease, you know, as close as we can.
So here's an interesting walk-in closet. We have an exposed chimney that works with a real wood-burning fireplace downstairs. And this goes up through the ceiling. We've left it exposed, and we've put rods in it that can hold over 250 pounds per rod. We then have a dresser to the left, and it's open sort of to the bathroom. There's no door there, and there's no wall that goes to the ceiling dividing the dressing area from the bathroom. It's all left open so that the chandelier lights both the bathroom and the dressing area. We did some landscaping around the property. As you can see in the front, there are a handful of beat up old azaleas that haven't been cut in a long time and all scrappy looking. And on the left is an old mature skip laurel that hasn't been cut in 10 years. So we went in and cleaned it up. We put in some Colorado boxwood, trimmed down the skip laurel, and moved the the azaleas to the side of the property. Here in the back, there was an abundance of 30 or 40-year-old boxwood and a bunch of trees and plantings that were totally unnecessary. You couldn't walk from one end of the property to the other with the boxwood as it was, so we cleared it. And that's what we got. We did the right thing. It was very hard and painful for me to take the boxwood out, but we did it. So let's see what else we have. We kept some beautiful mature plantings, crepe myrtles and roses of Sharon, and we put in these annuals. And then there in the back there was a crabapple tree that was sick and it looked like it was dying, so we decided we ought to do something about that. So we took it out and we planted it in with 4 arborvitae, beautiful arborvitae, and a bunch of plantings. We put in some hostas and some hydrangeas and some lilies. That was a nice combination, I think. Another shot of the cleared backyard. Here's the side of the property that was all totally overgrown. There must have been about 6 roses of Sharon that were 15 feet high that we took out. There was just too much. There's some more boxwood that were smack dab in the middle of the property that we took out. And this is what you end up with when you clean it out. Clean it up and clean it out. Here's the side of the property again that was totally overgrown. You couldn't see outside the window, winter or summer. And this is what we did. The plants in the back are viburnum. They grow like gangbusters, so we cut them back. They'll bloom next year, and every year thereafter, after they bloom, they should be cut back and kept under the window. The azaleas that were in the front have been brought around to the side and planted there, and we left one big beautiful roses of Sharon. Believe it or not, these are 3 magnolia trees, which is sort of, I've never seen a hedge in magnolias, but there it is. We left those to block the door at the bottom of the walkout area for privacy. And so we cleaned it up. We took about 1/3 of that bush out, branches cutting it back. It hadn't been cut back in years. Another shot of the arborvitae. The project started June 14th, 2019, 2 days ahead of schedule. Imagine that. I couldn't believe it either. I want to say a very special thank you to Tate Lalvensberger of Heritage Builders. He always runs calm, but was extremely responsive. He never had to wait for a product to arrive. The plumbers who ran the plumbing up to the 2nd floor were always in sync with the electricians, the carpenters, the painters, and so on. Tate is responsible for most of that, and I'll give a little bit of credit to Mel. Thanks, Mel. Also the jokester of the entire group. His jokes were never ending. The job slowed only once, waiting for the mechanical engineer to give us requirements for reframing the roof area. These things occasionally happen. Tate, Tegan, and all of you who work for Heritage Builders are respected within the community, and that means faster and better service. The job was originally quoted at $50. I haven't seen the final bill, but I'm expecting a bill of about $60, mostly extras, mostly electric. That's for a 680 square foot renovation. That's what I call reasonable. The job took 3 months, behind schedule. However, most of that had to do with the beam rebuilding, which Tate had not factored in. But when you're dealing with an old house, you never know what you're going to get. Tate, I hope to have the opportunity to work with you again. Thank you.